Hey everyone, this is Raja from Fincharger and welcome back to this video. So in this video, we're going to talk about 5 small cap funds that have given highest returns in the last 5 years. Now these funds might not be the best ones to invest right now, or these funds might not be the best ones with lowest expense ratios, but these are the funds that have given highest returns in the last 5 years. So with that being said, let's go ahead and check out the list quickly. So at the first, we have Quant Small Cap Fund, which is the best performer in the last few years. So as you can see, in the last 1 year, this fund has given 59.74% return. In 3 years, 48%, and in 5 years, 36.74% annualized returns, which is really huge return. So this is the best performing fund in the last few years. And if you take a look at it here, you can start your SIP with just 1,000 rupees every month. And this fund has a huge size, 13,000 crore, which is pretty big for a small cap fund, but this fund is still performing good, so we can invest in it if you want to. And if you would have invested 5,000 rupees every month for the last 5 years, right now you would have 8,04,000 rupees corpus. And as you can see, here are the top holdings of the fund. Reliance Industries is the top holding of the fund, Hindustan Copper, Adani Power, Jio, and all that stuff. So if you take a look at it here, this fund has an equity exposure of 97.8%, and this fund is holding only 1.5% cash, which is pretty good, I think. And here, as you can see, the sector-wise breakdown of the fund. I think the biggest part of the fund is investing in this financial sector, then energy, and then construction. And as you can see, if you want to invest first time, you can start with a 5,000 rupees lump sum. And if you want to start with an SIP, you can start with 1,000 rupees only. All right. And now let's go and check out the expense ratio. And as you can see, the expense ratio of the fund is 0.77%, which is a little bit high, but since the fund is performing very good, so we can say that it's justified. And also it has an exit load of 1% if you redeem the investments within 1 year. So this is the Quant Small Cap Fund, which is the top performing fund in the last few years. Next, we have Nippon India Small Cap Fund. This fund is the best performing small cap fund for the last 10 years. But in this video, we are only talking about last 5 years. So in the last 1 year, this fund has given 54.93% return. In last 3 years, 41.76%. In last 5 years, 30.94% return, which is really great. And if you take a look at all time, since its inception, this fund has given over 27% return, which is really amazing. And you can start your SIP with just rupees 100. So that's really great point. If you have a small corpus and if you want to invest small amount of money in small cap, you can start your SIP with just 100 rupees only. And as you can see, this fund has a size of 43,815 crores, which is huge. This is the biggest small cap fund, I think, and it has a great corpus, but still the fund is performing great. And if you take a look at the holdings, as you can see, here are the top holdings of the fund. This fund has a great exposure in HDFC Bank, and this fund holds 203 stocks, which is a lot of stocks, I think. And this fund is holding a lot of cash, as you can see, 3.6%, and that is because this fund has a big size and it should hold some cash to buy new opportunities. And if you take a look at the allocation, here we have 19.1%, which is the biggest percent in capital goods, and 13% in financial. So I think it's pretty good. And in technology, it has 7.1% exposure. And other than that, if you take a look at it here, you can start your minimum SIP with 100 rupees. And currently this fund is not allowing to invest lump sum. So if you want to invest in this fund, you can only invest via SIP. All right. And let's go and take a look at the expense ratio. And as you can see, this fund has an expense ratio of 0.66%, which is pretty good, I can say. And it also has an exit load of 1% if you redeem within 1 year. So this is the Nippon India Small Cap Fund, which is the best performing small cap fund of all time. But in the last 5 years as well, it is performing great. At number 3, we have Tata Small Cap Fund. And as you can see, in 1 year, this fund has given 39.34%. In 3 years, 37.94%. And in 5 years, 28.62%, which is really great. And here as well, you can start your SIP with just 100 rupees. And the fund size is 5819 crores. So it is growing and going towards a big fund. And now, as you can see, the holdings of the fund, this fund holds only 53 stocks. So this fund's portfolio is a little bit concentrated. So I think it should have a little more diversification. And as you can see, 4.5% of this fund is in IDFC Limited. And this is a pretty big investment. So I think most of the things are in finance sector. And it's holding only 1.3% cash, which is pretty good. And as you can see here, 16.7% in financial sector. So I think this fund is holding a lot of in financial sector, and in services 14.9, chemicals 13.2, and I cannot see any. Okay, technology 5.4%. Okay, so the lowest is the technology. All right, and now as you can see, this fund has minimum SIP 100 rupees, and I think you cannot do lump sum investments in this fund anymore. So if you want to invest in this fund, you can start your SIP with just 100 rupees every month. And let's take a look at the expense ratio. So this fund has an expense ratio of 0.31%, which is really low, I think. So from the point of view of expense ratio, this fund is really great, but this fund has a concentrated portfolio with only 50 stocks. So that's a little bit, what can I say, a little bit risky for a small cap fund. And it also has a exit load for units more than 12% of the investments, and exit load of 1% if redeemed within 12 months. Okay, so if you redeem your investments within 1 year, in that case, you might need to give 1% of exit load. So this is the Tata small cap fund. Next, we're going to check out HDFC small cap fund. In the last 1 year, this fund has given over 51% return. In 3 years, 37%, in 5 years, 24.59%, which is really great. Okay, and as you can see, this fund size is 26,836 crores. This is probably the second biggest fund, and it has a huge number of assets. And you can start your SIP with just 100 rupees, which is really great. I think every fund should allow investors to start SIP with really low amount. And if you would have invested 5,000 rupees every month, in 5 years, it would have become 5,06,051. Okay, and the top holding is Sonata Software, Bank of Baroda. I think this fund is also holding a lot of financial and a lot of healthcare stocks. Let's see. Okay, this fund is holding 9.2% cash, which is a little bit red flag. Actually, the fund size is really big. That is why I think it is holding a lot of cash for more opportunities, which is good in some cases. This happens when the fund size becomes really big. And as you can see, the services sector, it is holding 21.4%. In finance, 13.6%. In technology, 5.7%. Technology is the lowest. In healthcare, 11.7%. Okay, so this is good. And if you take a look at it here, my minimum SIP is 100 rupees, minimum first time investment 100 rupees, minimum second 100 rupees. So you can start your SIP with 100 rupees, and you can also do your lump sum investment with 100 rupees as well. So that's pretty good. Okay, and let's go and check out the expense ratio. And the expense ratio is 0.71%, which is really high. I don't think we should invest with this much higher expense ratios at this point of time, when we have many other funds with much lower expense ratios and better result. But still, this fund has given better returns in the last 5 years, so that is why we're considering it here. And it also has an exit load of 1% if redeemed within 1 year. Okay, so I think all the small cap funds have an exit load. I'm not sure why. And finally, at last, we have ICICI Prudential Small Cap Fund, Great Man. In the last 1 year, this fund has given 43.37% return. In 3 years, 34%. In 5 years, 29.08%, which is great. Okay, so this fund, you can start your SIP with 100 rupees. And this fund has a size of 7,000 crores. So it is growing slowly and growing towards being a big fund. And now let's take a look at the top holdings. Okay, so this fund is holding Nippon India Asset Management. So ICICI is holding Nippon, okay, Rolex, and all these things. I think most of the things are in, I think this is pretty good diversified. And it is holding 5.2% of cash, which is pretty good, I think. Okay, so this is holding 14.8% in construction sector, 13.9% in capital goods, 11.6% in services. Where is finance? So this fund is holding really low financial sector, 7.5% only. And if you take a look at it here, minimum SIP is 100 rupees, and you can start your lump sum investments with 5,000 rupees, and for the next month you can invest with 1,000 rupees. Okay. And let's take a look at the expense ratio, and the expense ratio is 0.61%, which is lower than the HDFC, but I think the expense ratios should be much lower than this. And it also has an exit load of 1% if redeemed within 1 year. So as you have seen, most of the, I think all the small cap funds that you have seen have exit load if redeemed within 1 year. And the expense ratios are about 0.5% average. So I think the small cap funds have a higher expense ratios because the fund manager takes a lot more risk. The Tata small cap has the lowest, probably 0.31%, and the Nippon is also 0.6%, and Quant is also 0.7. Quant is 0.77, but this is performing really good. So you can consider all these things, the returns and the expense ratios, the exit loads, and the minimum investments, and the fund size as well, and then decide which fund you should choose. So these are the 5 top small cap funds that have given highest returns in the last 5 years. So with that data, go ahead and calculate and invest with your own research. So choose the fund that you like and check out all the things that I have said. And you can also diversify your investment in few funds if you have a large capital. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed and learned some things. So go ahead and start investing in small cap funds. This is Raja from Fincharger. Follow and subscribe us for more useful videos like this. And I'm going to see you in another video very soon.